All right, here we go. Okay, looks like we're live. We're gonna do the whole share things and stuff. We're gonna do things. People are joining in. I'm using the same tech that I did last week that failed on me. So please, by all means, you know the routine. Tell me if you can hear me. All right. Good evening, Brad. Hello, James. Good to see you guys. I appreciate it. Okay, I am going to do the whole, share, like, and subscribe thing. But what I mean by that is I'm going to do the sharing and ask you to like and subscribe to this. If you could share it too, that would be great. If you have any friends that are interested in Warhammer 40K, tabletop game or otherwise, would be awesome. If you're in any other Facebook groups, Discord servers, things like that, and you think this would be some cool content to share, please do. I would appreciate it. It has been a long couple of weeks, and I cannot believe that we're a new week in already. Oh my gosh. Trying to get ready for all this is nuts. It really, really is nuts. So here we go. Okay. Boop. At 40K and at all miniature games. Boop. There we go. Cool. I shared it there. We're going to go ahead and jump over to the old face of books. Let's get some posts going up there. Let's see what people think. Boom, boom. All right. Nice. Yeah. So can you guys hear me? Is everything actually working according? Brad, my iron hands are almost ready to run around the table. I saw that. You made some cool progress, man. I love the pictures in the Discord. So thank you much for that. Let's see. What else we got here? Gotta do all the good due diligences and stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Share again. Why not? I know these two groups like Warhammer stuff. All right, come join me. Nice. There we go. Ethan, it's working. All right, appreciate it. Because I am at this point afraid to even touch this area, see what happens. But I'm using the same stuff, so who knows? It could have been just something dumb, like I touched it and got static shock and it blew out and whatnot. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way. I do have my handy note here. I have been just taking notes for days. I've actually been going over some of the lore and stuff with Sean, getting everything set up, which is really cool. There's a lot. There's a lot to this one event, and it's crazy. I'm really excited for it. Today, though, I did want to talk to you guys a little more about narrative paths, things that are going to actually happen in the game, so you guys can kind of be aware of it. Obviously, I'm not going to give away too much. I also want to give too many spoilers leading into it that might dictate what you bring as your list, what you want to do as a player, things like that. Because I want you guys to be able to discover this as it happens, which I think would be really cool. We're going to go over engagement protocols tonight. That's an important one. This is the step-by-step thing you guys are all going to do every single round. Make sure you're talking to your opponents. Make sure you guys understand terrain, things like that. There's a lot to it. And then, as long as everything stays working and is good to go, I'm going to go over the sector missions, and we're using our chapter-approved mission deck, which makes sure you have one. It's going to be really important that you guys have your own deck. Can't stress that enough. I have mine, and I have backups that are from the prior editions. So if somebody shows up without one, they're going to be playing with old stuff, and I don't want to say that'll put you at a disadvantage. It just won't be the full fun experience of it. So, but yeah, if you guys are listening, you are in here, please let me know what you think about the event, what you plan on bringing, why you're excited to be here, and all that good stuff. So, Brad, screw medalists. Let's keep to your lore based on what you said in your lore. I appreciate that. I want to see some cool stuff. If there is one thing that I could say that would be really cool about this, is if you think you have a dumb unit, something that is just not worth playing, it's total hot garbage, you'd never run it in a competitive list, please play it in this event. I would love to see it. I think this is going to be one of those awesome events where you get to play with certain units and let them be bad, and it actually has advantages and disadvantages and tells a story, which is really cool. Let's see. Are we running the incursion specific cards? No, not entirely anyway. It's a hodgepodge mix. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example as best I can as far as the mission cards go. So we have 30 players, which is amazing. We had one person drop out today and immediately got snagged up by our wait list. So thank you so much for you guys being on the wait list, amped and ready to go. Out of the 30 players, that's going to put us at 15 tables. On the 15 tables, they're going to be divided up into 5 different sets of tables or sector. Each sector is going to be alpha, beta, or gamma, and based on its strength is going to put it on a different planet. Really what it's going to boil down to is that you're going to have 5 tables that are all in a row that are all going to represent one battle, and each table is a minor conflict on that battle. Okay? So lots of things, smaller things. Every single table will have different sets of cards based on what you land on, which makes it just a huge amount of variety, right? Like 30 times 2 times 5, I don't know, whatever that math is. There's a lot of variations. So we're using everything in this except the straightforward Strike Force missions, I think. But I think I had to borrow a couple of them to carry over. Predominantly speaking, the asymmetric mission cards are what going to be used the most. I'll say that much. But the way each table is going to be aligned and the way each sector is going to use those tables, right, to depict that is going to be different. And that's really what's unique when it comes to that. So yes, we're using incursion cards, but not only those. We are exclusively playing incursion level games, though. That's really important to know because we're doing incursion, it means the incursion rules are in fact rule of 2, not the rule of 3. You can have no more than 2 of a unit unless it's a battle line. Battle line, you can have up to 4, not 6. Your dedicated transports have up to 4, not 6. Not that anybody's going to. I had a silly little meme list in there with a bunch of Sagittars, but I'm not even running that. And then another thing. Oh, battle line units, because it's incursion level, will be able to move, get onto an objective, form an action, and then still be shoot, fight. As long as they're still on the action, complete it, they're still good to go. There is a list of disqualifying things in here, and I'm going to have that card ready later on so I can explain that, just in case anybody doesn't have their cards right in front of them. If you don't have your cards, we do have a couple left. Please order them from our website. It'll quite literally say chapter approved for special order for mission. So we know to set it aside for that. Let's see. Forcing Crusaders for that very reason. Nice. Hey, Crusaders are cool, man. They're the one unit for the, Adepta Sororitas / Sisters of Battle / Administratum that I have actually really liked in the past, and I've done a lot of conversions for them. I think after this is over, once I have gotten my new Craft World Eldar / Corsair army up and running, because yes, I did pre-order all of that stuff over the weekend. That's the next army I've been working on. I've got a bunch of models that I've actually got kind of set aside for it. I'm going to be doing some kit bashes, some special exposition models. I really want to bring back the Witch Hunters. That is probably my favorite time. 3.5 into 4th edition 4K, and I want to bring that back. That was really cool. Let's see, my Desolation Marines are useless for 200, and I'm running them. Let's go. Honestly, though, that's really epic. I love Desolation Marines. I think they're super cool. You might find that something like that is going to be more useful in this because you're going to be able to gain certain abilities and have certain effects played on them just because of the terrain rules we have. And depending on what planet we battle on, which is really cool. I'm not going to lie, I might get to play against you. I think it would be a lot of fun. I want to play against your Iron Hands. Only thing I am using more than one of is Heavy Intercessors. Legit. My Space Marine list I was looking at originally was double Heavy Intercessors, because that's kind of how my Space Marines are built around. Deso aren't useless. They're actually meta in certain lists. Sure, yeah, that's fine. I have a head, 0 luck with them. Yeah, that sounds like me. Hey, who's got 6 Iron Kid Steel Jacked with rifles ready to go and can't roll a 6 to save their life? This guy. That unit is so cool, and I will play with it all the time. But probably the best thing I've had happen with my Steeljack other than my one game against you, Stefan, is get into combat, survive against Khorne Berserkers, step back, shoot, and then still be able to fight the next round when I got charged again. It was so rough. They're very, very specific. You see them in UM lists and Blood Angels. Angelic. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, Ultramarines. Yeah, Desolators are cool. Man, I really hope to see just a huge variety of stuff. I hope a lot of you are taking your time trying to paint up your models for the painting contest. Keep in mind, your army doesn't have to be painted for the event, but we are going to be doing a painting contest. On that too, if you're not able to participate in the narrative event itself, it's okay. You can still submit entries for the painting contest. We have 5 other categories you can submit for, and you can submit 1 for each of those categories. So your character, a conversion, if you have a converted hero that you want to show off, a battle line unit, a support unit, and of course, monsters and machines. So big stuff. Throw in some stuff that you're not using in your army list, and put it into the display cabinet. We're going to be doing judging and voting all weekend long, which is going to be really cool. Let's see. I ran 3 units of them versus Greg's tunnel bugs, and it wasn't good. Yeah, I can see that. Greg's tunnel bugs, though, are nuts. Not only are they fluorescent and super awesome colors, but they're a pain in the butt to deal with. So cool. All right. Before I really jump into it, what questions do you guys have for me about the event? I have seen a few things pop up in our Discord, and that's been really cool to kind of look over, make sure everyone's on the same page. Oddly enough, I think the one thing that a lot of people missed is the fact that the only thing that you have to have the same between your 2 lists, only things, is A, your army must be identical. Right? It can't be Tyranids and 1,000 points and Botan 1,500. It's got to be same army. Same army. It's got to be the same detachment between the 2 lists. It's got to be the same warlord between the 2 lists. And any enhancements you take have to be the same. So it's those 4 things. From there, I encourage you, for narrative reasons, to include as many of the same units as possible. So for instance, in my 1,000-point list, I have 2 units of Hurricane Warriors. 15 points, I'm going to still have 2 units of Hurricane Warriors. I'm just also adding double Sagittars at that point to transport them around and including some extra things. It's important that you know that because a couple of reasons. Number one, narratively speaking, it makes sense. You're either sending in a larger wave force, depending on if you're starting at 1,500 points or if you're starting at 1,000 points, and then building up or working down with what you have left. Which I guess I should probably start there when it comes to engagement protocols before I totally jump into that. So when it comes to this, something that's really important that all of you need to know and recognize is that there are 30 players across 15 tables. Those 15 tables are divided up into the 5 groups. Each group uses a certain points value. So we have 2 sets of 5 tables, so 10 tables total, that will use the 1,500 point list. And then 1 set of 5 tables that uses the 1,000 point list. That's really important to know because it's not everybody playing on the same points level at the same time. You guys are all going to use the same time per round, so you're all going to play with 2.5 hours. Fingers crossed everything goes well. You guys know your army well enough and you know how to play in the event that things will go fairly smoothly there. If we go a little bit over time at the end of the world, I'm going to get there extra early, make sure things are all set up and ready to go. But that being said, in your first round, you might start 1,500 points and then loop back around to the 1,000 point games and then get back up to the 1,500 point games. So the reason that I asked you similar units between the 2 lists so that you are not lugging a huge 2,500 point army around. That could be incredibly uncumbersome, as well as you're going to have to go between the 2 different buildings. I am now getting the exact same warning I got last time. Can you guys still hear me? I don't know what's happening. More than one ingestion is using a primary URL. Send one stream to a primary ingestion URL. I don't know. You can still hear me? Okay, that's all I care about. Sorry for the interruption. I'm going to keep going. Please flag me as soon as you don't hear me or can't. So I apologize about that. Okay, back on talking. Focus. Doing my best here. So yeah, you can start with 1,500 points and then loop back around to the 1,000 points and then play 1,500 points again towards the end of the day. Everyone is going to play in all these sectors. Everyone is going to play with both lists, and everyone is going to play and interact on all 3 planets. But depending on where and how things go is actually going to determine where you land within that sector. Okay, this is the part that's going to get a little bit complicated, and I wish I had a prop to show you, so I'm just going to use a blank piece of paper. When you go to play, you are all going to be given the exact same player card. Think of this as kind of a player identity or path card or something you'd get out of an RPG, right? This is going to help you decide and know where you're going next and what the results were that happened. So I'm going to just very quickly draw up some doodles here. There's no way in heck you're going to be able to see this, but that's okay. We're going to do the best that we can. Name. There we go. Cool. Okay. So everyone is going to get a card that kind of looks like this. What you're going to have is you're going to have your round 1, round 2, and round 3 activities on here. So because of the way this event works, I can't use tournament software. Everything has to be done in advance and on the fly at the same time. There's 30 of you, and I plan on participating in this as well. Please help me do this smoothly. You're going to be given round 1, round 2, and round 3. There. It really helps if I add the D at the end of round. Okay, so you're going to have round 1, round 2, and round 3 that you're going to keep track of. I'm going to give you a table number. You're going to get a table number to play on round 1. Based on the results of that, you're going to determine if you're the attacker or the defender going into the next round and going into the next round. So it's really important that you kind of know where you're starting, then when you go from there. This is where the part gets super cool. All right. So let's talk a little bit about game mechanics and how this is going to work. Okay. I'm going to pick one of you at random. Ethan, you're on there. I'm sure you're listening and paying attention. You and I get paired up in the first round. We're going to battle each other and figure out what goes on. Turns out we start on the Gamma sector table. So we're going to be playing our 1,000-point game. Because it's the very first game, neither one of us can really determine if we're the attacker or the defender. So we get to choose one of 2 things. And this is the great part. You're playing in a narrative event. So you guys get to actually make decisions about this, which is really cool. First decision is, it's really simple. We're just going to roll off and determine who is the attacker and who is the defender for this particular game. So for instance, Ethan, if you're playing Necrons and I'm playing Leagues of Votann, it could be undecided who's going to be the attacker and defender. That's okay, we can figure it out. But we are going to know a little bit about the narrative on the planet that we're at. And it just so happens to be about the mining world planet, where the AdMech and the Leagues of Votann and other Imperium forces have been mining rich minerals out of the ground. It wakes up Necrons. Well, which one of us is going to be the attacker and the defender? Turns out I, the Leagues of Votann player, might determine that I'm the defender and you're trying to take it back from me. So you're the aggressor here, you're the attacker. Well, there we go. We've got it figured out a little bit. You decide that you think you should be the attacker. I agree, and I think I should be the defender, and that's how we're going to go about it. So we're going to go ahead and on our cards, we're going to write if we're the attacker or defender, which is kind of cool. So, cats are yelling at me. Yep. Can be encouraging a nice, encouraging a nice one. Yeah, Necrons, we're here first. Yeah. So we're actually going to write down who's the attacker, who's the defender. Keep in mind, this is a card that we keep with us personally. We don't turn this in. You're going to end up showing it off to me for results so we can throw it into a spreadsheet and stuff like that. But you don't turn this in. You keep this card all day. It's actually going to be laminated. Like, that's how important it is. We're going to play our game, Ethan. Let's go. We hammer it out. You kick my butt, right? It's 30-10. It's a good battle. I was able to hold out as best I can, but I get totally defeated and destroyed. Because you win, you started out as the attacker, you stay as the attacker. You're going to go from Gamma sector into Alpha sector now, but you automatically arrive as the attacker because you claimed it last time. As somebody that lost, I stay as the defender. if roles were reversed and I was attacker and you were defender and you still won, you claim the attacker role and you become the attacker going into the next battle. So that way there should be an even 50-50 split unless there's a tie. We'll then determine tiebreakers and give you a result as who is the attacker and defender going into the next round. Now you know you're the attacker into the next round. You know you're going from Gamma Sector to Alpha Sector. When you get to Alpha Sector, you're an attacker. You need to find a defender to battle against. And that's it. Once you have found a defender that you need to battle against, you're going to go to whatever tables are remaining and you're going to set up and play on those. In a way, you're determining who you're playing against at what table. You just know what sector you're going into. And you know if you're an attacker or defender based on the results from before. You're able to turn in that information to us. We catalog it and record it, and we carry it on into the next round. While this is happening, Sean, who has been writing all the narrative, is going to be tracking this and writing short blurbs. We're going to get a little preview of that during our lunch break, and we're going to get the big announcement result at the very end, just before we go into round 3, and then the final cataclysmic events results at the end of round 3. So this is going to be really cool. It's kind of interesting to see how things are going to play out. It's incredibly organic, though. It's not just a tier tree where it's winners versus winners, losers versus losers. You actually claim back and forth, which is really cool. So that is the first part. From there, while I'm on this train of thought, I'm actually going to jump into a little bit about the protocols, right? So let's flip back to this. There we go. I'm going to do my best to tell you as I think of things, jot them down. So let's see. Since we get here, can zeros fight zeros, or are we keeping? Oh, Xenos. Xenos with an X, guys. Yeah, Xenos. Yeah. So here's the thing. Anybody can battle anybody and everybody. In theory, as long as everything goes correct, in some degree, you should never play against the same person on the same table, like at all. The reason that is because pre-programming all of the players to go in certain habits, if you will, or pathways. So you might be a certain pathway that is always going to go gamma, alpha, beta. Some people might go gamma, beta, alpha, and some people might be on beta, go to gamma, and then back to alpha, right? You kind of see where I'm getting at with that. We'll have that. Tech that matchup would Xenos versus Xenos Votan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Xenos okay. So one, there's a lot of Xenos players, but yes, absolutely. What you got to keep in mind is that each planet has its own narrative going on, and you as the players have to decide what side of that narrative you're going to encourage or try to stop. So you get to kind of decide that a little bit. So Necrons and Votan 100% are fighting each other. Tyranids and Necrons 100% fighting each other. Votan and Votan still yes, because there's kind of a rules dispute in there and who gets what territory, right? Yeah, we get to fight the enemies and stave off on our territory, but at the end, which mining guild is actually going to get it, right? So that kind of stuff. Same thing goes for Space Marines. Same thing goes for Chaos. Chaos has its own will and its own, demands that it wants to fulfill and things like that. And Space Marines, absolutely too. In the prior narrative that we had for Shadows over Cirilla Prime, actually, we had so many people sign up for it that the Imperium faction had to split into two parts. And we had a defenders on the planet and then the reinforcements coming from outer space. The problem was that you guys didn't agree on anything. So it actually splintered the factions, and then we ended up with this two kind of micro factions. So we had two parts of Imperium battling against each other while also trying to fend off the Tyranid invasion, while also trying to survive against the Chaos Raiders. It didn't work out for you. So we'll see how that goes. But in this particular event, this all event, every player is its own entity for now. As we go from here into the other events, loose alliances, conglomerates may build and appear in the next events, but it's really going to depend on what happens in this one. So, okay. You have an idea of what your player card is going to be. You have an idea that using it is going to help you figure out where you're going to go. You should automatically know what sectors you're going to be in, you'll know if you start as the attacker or defender based on who you play against in the first round. And as long as you win your games, you stay attacker. If you lose your games, you play defender. I should also point out something, that defenders that win a game count as a defender for that particular planet, and then at the beginning of the next round, switch and become attackers. That's important to know. Let's see. Meanwhile, in Act 2 of Cerulean Prime, the Imperium dominated the backs of Steam's... You guys. Let's see. I'm late to the show. Are these full 2 game points? No. We're not playing 2,000 point games at all. They're 1,000 point and 1,500 points. Hope you're interested and want to join into our future events. But we are totally sold out at the moment. It's double list, 1,000 point, 1,500 points. That being said, I will be clear, I have no intention on running any of these at 2,000 points as of right now. I think we have enough of these events planned and mapped out that they will carry us into the new edition of the game. And so that may change things depending on how points level out. But right now, we're going to be sticking with incursion level games at 1,000 points or 1,500 points. At max, I'm looking at like 17 or 1850 for any of you that comes from. So... Cool. All right. So we know what the cards are. We know where we're going. We know that we have the different planets, and we know that each planet is broken up into 5 tables. Each of those 5 tables will have its own battle protocols, if you will. It's a lot. It's a lot. So let's see. Yep. Yeah, I'm building Emperor's Children and Death Guard armor simultaneously. Awful financial decision. Don't recommend it. Yep. I'll be ready for the next one. Awesome. I also have this. My wild mix to the table. Yeah, nice. It's gonna be awesome, guys. I'm super looking for it. And really, the coolest thing about this is, I didn't even show it off. You guys might get first dibs on this. Can I do this? Hold on. We're gonna check something. I bet it won't let me do it. I have really cool pictures. I don't know if I can share pictures in chat. Can you guys share pictures in chat? I bet I can't. I don't think there's a way I can do this. Oh, no. Get your audience. What does this do? Start a Q&A, start a poll. I don't want to do that. I can do emojis. I can do fun stuff. Not this chat, but put it on Discord. All right, as you command. If you are not in Discord, now is your time to join. Make sure you join this Discord. And I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and copy this link, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it on YouTube in case any of you guys are not in our Discord already. I think most of you probably are. But if you're not, please join us. We'd love to have you. Okay, all right, drum roll, please, as loud as you can. I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because that's going to end up creating a whole nother thing, and that's going to be all kinds of crazy. Let's do, I'm just going to do the 40K chatter. It's going to get buried, but that's okay. Okay, so we've been working on this. I'm going to show off a couple of things actually first. Let me do. So for those of you that are not aware, a couple of years ago, we did the narrative event. As part of that, I asked one of my staff members, Tavern, because they're an artist, to draw a cool symbol and whatnot. We had that turned into a dice, which was really cool. It is the Tyranid kind of engulfing the planet, all 100% drawn by him. It's super cool. So I said, hey, Tavern, could you do that again? We're going to do it for the Nexus events. And he's like, oh, yeah, I could do that. So he came up with this. So I've posted that into our Discord. I think it's really cool to give you a little bit of a clue as to what's going on in the narrative. If you can't see it though, go ahead and bring that up on my phone and kind of show that off. It's a really, really cool Necron destroyer. You can tell by the helmet, capturing the planet of Cerulean Prime. Its touches with maybe some Tyranid tentacles floating around in the background. Thought that was pretty cool. So cool, in fact, that we're going to have that on our awards and prizes and everything like that going forward. But you know what we can do with those, right? We can turn it into dice. So what we're doing is we're having dice made. These aren't going to be here in time for this event, but that's okay because we are going to be ordering more and more of them. But I think they're super cool. Here we are. I know it's going to be all bleached out on the screen because of the way that it works on here. So if you're in our Discord, go check it out. But there are some really, really cool dice here. You can see it's that awesome new symbol. And we have 6 different colored dice for the different events. That's right. Each one of these I chose are color coded based on some of the stories and narratives that's going to be happening. So people of the event get first dibs, so to speak. People of the event will definitely get first dibs. They are going to be first come, first serve. We are only getting 100 dice of each color. That's it. That's all we had the money for right now. If we sell out and there's still high enough demand for it, we will be getting more. Oops, all destroyers. Yeah. Yes, you guys in this Ultima event will get the first dibs on all of the colors, but then going forward, each of those colors is going to represent a different event that's coming up in the future. So I'm just going to kind of use the Discord here as my reference. So of course, Golden Rhino Games, I had to get one in the golden ivory tusk with the golden flake in it and the black symbol. So that kind of represents the kickoff of the main event and the store itself. We then have a pink and purple with white icon. We have a light green with gold. We've got a nice royal blue with gold. We have a nice scarab red with gold. And then, of course, to represent the Necrons, the antagonists in this starting venture, we have a silver and black with the green icon. I think that'll be pretty cool. So, yep, y'all want one of each? That sounds great, man. You guys are going to be able to buy them up. First come, first serve. I think I told them that I'm going to be probably doing at least 2 orders of this. Based on how well they sell, obviously. And it's going to be a max of 10 of any one dice per person. That's a limit, just so it is. Who's this nerd? Hello. Awesome. So anyway, yeah, it's really, really cool epic dice that we're getting made for this event and the coming events. It's Sean, by the way. Woo! Hey, Sean. No, not Baron of Dice this time. Baron of Dice we're going to be going back to for the store dice. These are by ChessX. So they're going to be the rounded corners, give you something a little bit different. Their turnaround time is a little faster too. Yeah, I'm super excited to get my hand on these dice. It's been a while since we've had some really cool custom dice again, especially for something as unique and awesome as this event coming up. So yeah, based on the result of this event, you guys have different events that are going to be coming up. I have this planned all the way out, I think, till October, and then it's either November or December, depending on how the holidays line up and things like that. We're definitely going to be doing a lot of mixed games in this as well. So it's not just Warhammer 40K, or I should say it's not just standard Warhammer 40K. If you haven't figured it out already, we're going to be doing a boarding actions event. So we're doing a learning to play boarding actions coming up next month. We're going to add some Kill Team into this too. So if you've got Kill Team and you want to play that, you're going to be influential in this as well. And then, yeah, once 11th edition hits, we're going to see what OU gives us. We're going to go from there. But I will definitely say building named characters of your own is going to be really important going into the next edition. So there we go. All right, we just had a bunch of people come in. Let's see. Yeah, 50K Shark Dice from ChessX. Do the actual Carcardine symbol. Yeah, because of GW. Yep. Yeah, but ours are all original, so I didn't have to worry about that, which is awesome. I'm using the 8th and 10th edition Iron Hands dice. Nice, very good. If it's October, we are definitely hitting 11th. Oh yeah, for sure, man. I know that we have a big epic middle point that's going to happen in June or July, based on how things go, and then all the way till the end of the year. So yep, and all of it's going to have lore. Yeah, that's kind of the craziest part, is that we all Sean, you and I have put so much work into this. I was looking at just my notes on this event. Like, I should have just done it in an actual notebook and not just on a notepad. Random way future question. Would it be recommended to keep the same faction for the future events too? So this is the best part. That's up to you. You get to decide if you want to do that. I know I'm going to be switching off my different armies so that I have a reason to actively work on my Corsairs and go back to my Tyranids, and maybe I'll pick up Necrons again too. That's a joke. You know I'm going back to Chaos eventually. So no, you don't have to. If you want to, if you want to be the Ultramarines player from the beginning to the end, you do that, bro. You do you, and I respect your choices. We can do whatever we want. That's the awesome thing. Every time you guys play an army, every time you guys play a battle, every time you play in one of these events, the army you bring is going to help build the narrative of what's going on. Thanks to Sean. So let's see. There we go. Very dice, Blood Angel dice. Okay, cool. Chainswords. Yeah, cool. I've put like 15 into this. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, that does not surprise me at all. This is going to be so sweet. Okay. And my wife is blowing me up about food and stuff. So clearly I need to wrap things up. But I'm not even getting started yet. That's the worst thing about it. Sounds like I should use one of my armies with obscure or flyers. Yeah, that would be cool. Like I said, too, I mentioned this in Discord, and I do wholeheartedly mean this. If Games Workshop takes away flyers from us, I'm going to bring back the old Death of Skies rules, and we're going to do nothing but a flyer versus flyer battle. We're going to like pilot them around. I'm going to do like cloudscapes. It's going to be awesome. Plan on doing it. So finally, motivation to pay my riders. Let's go. The events of the Narrative Crusade from Cerulean Prime 2 are not canon to this conflict. No, that's not true. They're going to be part of it coming up later on, but right now they're not. We'll get to why that is. So yeah, it will. Dope. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you guys are good. All right, cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the engagement protocols. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys are prepped and ready to go for different parts of the timeline. You got it. Prepped and ready to go for the day of the event, because I can't make this clear enough. It is 30 people over 15 tables in 2 different rooms of the stores, and I got to wrangle all you monkeys and play my game. And we got to have time for lunch. It's going to be a big lunch. So it's good. It's good. We got this. Okay. All right. So the first round is going to be kind of the easiest round. The first round is going to be easiest because you are going to know what sector and what table you are playing in. I should also point out that 2 sectors are going to take place in our event hall. The 3rd sector is to take place in the store room, so the main showroom. So I'll figure that out once I know more exactly on that. So you're going to know where to go, but now I need to tell you a little secret, okay? One of the main reasons I decided to do this event is that I feel the environment in which Warhammer 40K has become incredibly well organized and balanced and is very consistent. And what I mean by that is it is a game, it plays like a game, it has game mechanics that work really well, and you can see across the different armies are represented multiple times, and you get easy on certain things. I know what a vehicle is. I know what this biker unit is. I know what this infantry unit is, right? You get this kind of back and forth. I'm not going to say totally and completely parallel, but enough so that the game is very well balanced to a degree. It even helps so the mitigation of the modern day terrain setups that we use for competitive play, which is great. But because of that, I wanted to make things different. I wanted you guys to experience what I think tabletop war games are supposed to be like, are supposed to represent, and what they originally brought to the table, right? So first things first, you need to know is there is not a single round you are going to deploy your army the same way. You're not. In fact, all 3 rounds have a unique deployment type that are not in any rule book currently. I have pulled this from some past books. I have homebrewed some rules, and I have stolen one rule set from an old expansion, but is not a core rule deployment. So yeah, keep in mind, whether you're playing on alpha, beta, or gamma sector, determines what type of deployment is going to happen, and that is going to be completely unique. That is not in the rule book. Now, what I will say to make things quick and easy is the defender will always set up first. The attacker will always have the first turn. There's a catch on that, though. The defender does have a chance to seize the initiative. If any of you remember prior editions, you would set up, see if everybody goes, yeah, we're good to go, right? Okay, defender, roll. If they roll a 6, boom, they get to go first instead. But otherwise, it is intended that the attack does first and defender will deploy first. To make things a little bit more streamlined as well, the defender and the attacker will deploy their entire army all at once. So make that really clear. You've got 10 units in your 1,000-point army. You are deploying 10 units onto the table. You're just going to follow unique deployment rules that are in that. I see some comments. Let's see, different parts of the timeline. Oh, yeah, you guys just talked about that. Okay, so that's probably the biggest thing you need to know, because you're going to have to learn a deployment type on the fly. You're going to get up to the table and be like, "What do I do with this box of rocks?" This box of rocks is now your army. I didn't want to play with a box of rocks. Okay, you're going to deploy these box of rocks in a unique, uniform order, one at a time, allowing your opponent to see all of you, whatever it may be, right? We're not playing with rocks. You're playing with your models. I promise. Use it hypothetically. So yeah, all 3 rounds or all 3 sectors are a different deployment type. So fine, you need to learn that on the fly. You're also going to have to determine who the attacker and defender is in each round. Now, there is a possibility that 2 attackers or 2 defenders may end up battling against each other, and that is okay. Why? Because we can either A, roll to see who the attacker and defender, or B, you guys can make the decision yourself. We're all adults. So, she can hear it. Me with a yeah. Okay, not quite that bad. We're not quite going that far with it, right? No shenanigans. But what you do need to know, let me see if I can give away anything without totally giving away the secrets. Okay. In one of the sectors, you're going to have a mysterious deployment. In another sector, both players are going to have a reserved deployment. I'll give you a hint. I'm going to say like Knockman Gauntlet Crusade, but not exactly. And then in the third one, we're going to have a double hidden deployment, which is kind of cool. So the idea is that not every army has proper intel, right? We get up to face an army, and then all of a sudden, we fell into a trap, or there's an enemy there, and we didn't get to the battle zone that we wanted to exactly. We're not on the proper footing we wanted to. What does hidden deployment mean? It means you don't know how you or your opponent is going to be set up. I don't want to give it away. You're going to have to Dave. Sorry. But we have hidden deployment, ambush tactics, and reserves. So if I had to kind of describe it, right, one of them is going to be, yes, I will keep my secrets. One of them is going to be planets. You are landing onto the planet and you're trying to be aggressive and get there first, whether it is to reinforce defenders, take supply lines, or just straight up attack your opponent. You got to go. That's going to be one of the deployments. The other one is going to be both parties ended up in the same battlefield accidentally. They weren't supposed to. You guys are trying to find and gather intel and get to certain areas, but oops, you stumble upon the opponent too soon, or you could set up, or before they could set up. And that is a totally hidden deployment. The third one is going to be an ambush deployment, where one of the players ambushes their entire army. I'm not going to explain how that works, but there is a rule set and a rules document that will be posted at every table for this. Like I said, there's a lot of into it. And it's to represent both the different tactics that armies would actually play in modern warfare or in post-apocalyptic sci-fi warfare. And it is also a unique way to play the game, right? This is not going to be something that you're going to find in the rule book. You can absolutely recreate this at home. In fact, every player is going to get a door prize, which is going to be a certain kit of thing to help you do one of the deployments, which is going to be really cool. I want that ambush so bad for my Unga Bunga melee list. Yes, you do. because it gets so much worse. Okay, so we have figured out what sector we're going to battle on. We have determined if we're going to be the attacker or defender, and we even know what battle or what table that we're battling on, what engagement we're at. We talked to our opponent. We've exchanged lists. We've made sure that everything is clear as possible. I need to be super clear with you all right now. This event is what you see is what you get. WYSIWYG. What is really important here is that I know that it is not feasibly possible for every single model necessarily to be a true what you see is what you get. If you have a sergeant with a plasma pistol and a power sword, and that's not what you wanted to equip them with, but that's the way 12-year-old you built it 10, 15, 20 years ago. Oh God, don't think about it too hard. I'm okay with that. If you want to say that's a chain sword and a bolt pistol instead of a plasma pistol and a power sword, that's fine, right? What's important, though, is that a Land Raider Crusader is a Land Raider Crusader. A Repulsor Executioner is a Repulsor Executioner. The units are what they truly are and what they represent. It only really becomes a problem when you have different weapons mean different things, in which case those weapons need to mean those things, right? For instance, if I were to pick up a Hexagon Land Fortress and show it to you, would you know the difference between their bolter array or their ion array? I'm not gonna lie, I barely know the difference. So that doesn't really matter so much. But that Top Gun, I'm gonna make sure is my Magna Rail Cannon if I'm going to make a Magna Rail Cannon. Or it's a cyclic ion cannon if it's going to be a cyclic ion cannon, right? That's the important stuff. Let's see. I want, cool. Ambush is all mine. It's literally Chapter Doctrine. Nice. I got some used Sanguinary Guard that are built with swords. Can I say all Golden Boys have spears? That's fine. As long as it's in your list and as long as your opponent is totally aware of it at the beginning of the game. The fact that they are all Sanguinary Guard, done 90% of the work. If you were trying to use Death Company as Sanguinary Guard, no. That's a big no-no. We don't do that. But it's really important that you are as close as possible to what you see is what you get. So yeah. Besides, maybe you don't want to use swords or spears or whatever. Maybe you use some crazy fishing nets or I don't know, pick a weapon, right? We'd love to see some cool conversions out of this too, right? I want to reward you guys for playing with cool stuff, not punishing you guys for not being 100% accurate. Your Sanguinary Claws at Claws. Awesome. A great example, right? Sanguinary Guard with Claws sounds badass to me. I don't know if they have Lightning Claws or if that's even a thing anymore in this game. But as long as you and your opponent both know what they are and you have them all equipped the same and they all function the same, that's all that matters, right? So yeah, awesome. Have fun with it, okay? We've exchanged our lists. Our opponent is very aware of what our army is. We have shown to them. We've made sure that they got to look at all the cool things that we're doing. We've talked about any tactics. I do want to clarify that this is a very open discussion event. You, the player, do not need to give away your strategy or tactics, but you, the opponent, do need to inform your opponent of any gotchas, tricks, or things that you can be capable of in the game. If you have the ability to retreat, charge, and pull off the table, your opponent should know about that. If you have an ability to automatically pass a battle shock, or when you battle shocked, your army gets better, right? Those are the things that you need to disclose your opponent ahead of time. It is up to them to make decisions in the battle and make mistakes, but it is up to you to be open and disclose anything you can about your army. That's the one thing I would say. I would even go as far as reading the different stratagems to my opponent, should they ask. Because I don't have to tell them when and or if I'm going to use them. I played, I think, 9-10 games, and I think I've won one. Probably should do better. Anyway, so we know where we're at. We know where we're rolling. We go for the attacker or the defender. We've exchanged lists, and we have now read this crazy deployment rule. Like, what is actually going on? I got to put a unit over in this corner. He's got to roll a potato, and let's see what happens, right? Open book game. Yeah. Let's see. Always tell your opponent it has infiltrate scouts. Yeah, advanced charge. Honestly, I should probably do that, not because of a sportsmanship thing, but a valid point. Just so I remember it. I have not scouted with my pioneers like at all. I don't even think I did it against you, Stephen. So Anyway, we'll get there. We'll get there, right? Okay, so now we've got that going on. The next thing that is extremely important before anybody rolls dice or picks a side or deploys any models is that everyone at that table, both players, talk about the terrain. There's going to be a page document with a cool little art story, right? But it also says you can expect these types of terrain to be on this battlefield. And it's going to list them out. It might I might doodle for you. I'm going to do a little doodle. It's going to show you that it's got rocks and like this big building thing, and then this thing with smoke coming out of it, right? And say what keywords and what to apply here. If there is a rule that should not apply, I will explicitly call it out on that terrain card. So that way both players know, oh, nothing is impassable, or nothing is a structure, or stuff like that. There are no trees, therefore there are no woods. There's no wood rules like that. If there are no potatoes on the table this weekend, I riot. Getting a bag of potatoes. Let's go, boys. My strat is to lose 90% of the time, and I'll let them know. Yep, there you go. Way to go about it. I should also clarify, too, losing in this event is a way to win in this event. I know that sounds completely backwards, but I do have awards and prizes set up based on if you are the defender and you consistently lose throughout it, meaning that you were a defender the whole time. So losing is everything in this event. That's weird to say, but you know, not quite what I meant, but you know what I mean. I want you guys to have fun. I want you guys to have a reason to lose, right? Okay. We've exchanged lists. We've talked about terrain. Things look good, right? We're going to get into things. Here's the next catch. And this is going to be honestly the tricky part. And this is where I need you, the players, and the participants to help me, right? You can't terrain. The terrain is the battlefield. The terrain is the planet. It's the story, right? You can't move the Statue of Liberty. I'm sure you could crash into it and destroy it, but like it's still going to be there. It's still going to be wreckage, right? So when you end up deciding what the deployment card is going to be, you guys need to work together to slide the mats underneath and things like that. Are fortifications allowed? Romus, what do you mean by fortifications? I'm curious what you mean by that. Are you going to post FAQ before Sunday? I have a FAQ up already. I haven't gotten a whole lot more questions to add to it. But if you guys do have extra questions, please ask in advance. Convergence of Dominion, garbage Necron unit. I'm going to tell you right now, please don't take that, because that is going to be a terrain feature on the game. Yeah, I know there are 3 pillars. I think I have like 9 to 12 of them that it could potentially show. You could bring them because I might need yours. I'll be real, but don't play with them because we're not going to be using rules, and that would get really confusing for players. So I guess I should explain that. If your army does have a fortification, Eldar Webway Gates, Steven, what's the name of the pew pew missile thing for Space Marines called? Yeah, Hamburger Fall Bunker. That's it. The Hamburger Fall Bunker, the Orc Bastion looking thingy or whatever. Super cool stuff. You're gonna see all of it on all different tables. It's all terrain. The Hamburger Fall Bunker is a structure. Would you believe it or not? Right? It won't be used. Stuff like that. Night Mech Bay. Does the Night Mech Bay still have rules? Because I've got one of those on the table too. I actually didn't. I really thought that thing just got axed. Yeah, I don't think that has rules. But anyway, so yeah, it's going to be up to you guys. Work together, get the mats for the objective markers down, right? Try not to move the terrain if you have to move the terrain, if it's massive or whatever it may be. Obviously, call me over. I'll come over. We're going to 3-party it, right? And make sure that everything's good. Nice. Bring it. Bring the hammer fall. I thought it was hamburger fall bunker. Come on now. Don't mislead me. Yeah, if you guys have hamburgers, bring them. Bring the hamburger fall bunkers. I think I got 2. So Anyway, so those are going to be out at the tables. You guys are going to set up, you're going to go over your deployment cards, right? You choose deployments, set up your objective, things like that. So I will get into that a little bit now because this is what's important. So I started to go over this last time, but it didn't happen because microphone cut out and stuff. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. You want the no? I'm not going to lie. There's no way in hell I'm going to have enough time to paint all of the terrain for this. This is going to be a labor of love over the course of this year, and we're going to have some awesome terrain by the end of the year. Doesn't need to be painted, right? We're here to play and have fun. Let's get back to the game. So we've determined who attacker and defender is. So what's the benefit? So attacker is always going to get to choose the deployment zone. Defender is always going to get to choose what the primary mission is. So the way I look at it as is that you get to a planet, you get to here, there's a really precious resource. I want to get the resource. I'm the attacker, so I'm going to go after that, right? Turns out the defender has different plans. They choose the primary objective, and that's how it is represented. What you need to understand, though, is that each table is already going to have the primary objectives and the deployment zones chosen. You, the players, just got to choose between them. So that helps a little bit. You also are going to have your attacker, defender, secondary mission cards. I think I started to explain this, but I will again. We are going to be using them. You are only going to need the fixed mission cards, because we are going to be using those in a bidding system, if you will. You're going to choose your opponents, and your opponent is going to choose the secondary mission cards that you're going to use. You're going to pick 3, and of the 3 that your opponent hands to you, you're going to choose 2 to keep and try to score points, and you're going to discard 1. Now, there is going to be a gentleman's rule of agreement, if you will, on this. You can't select a secondary objective that is impossible for your opponent to score. For instance, if I had no vehicles, no monsters, I'm not going to choose Bring It Down as one of their 3 cards. That's impossible for them to achieve it. So it doesn't make sense. In fact, you need to go above and beyond, and you need to go, I think your army absolutely would try to kill my 3 characters. I'm going to give you Assassinate, right? Stuff like that. I'm going to go into a little bit more depth on that when it comes time to the event, because I'm going to need to talk to all 30 people at once and make sure everyone's under the same page at that. But to give you an idea, that's what you're going to use those for. Now for the twist, and this is the fun part. I mentioned it before that there are going to be architects, which are also going to be archetypes in this event. You're going to be an architect of fate, an architect of destruction, or an architect of authority. Every player, based on what army they have chosen to play, or randomly, will be given one of the architect scrolls. Yes, you're going to get a literal scroll that is tied up that's going to tell you what you are. What's this? Question. Tournament Companion removes the fixed icon from some cards. Are we playing with that? I'm actually not sure. I have always, the way I've intended it is that we are using the cards, or the cards that are available for you to choose are only the ones with the fixed icon printed on them. Keeps that simple. So didn't look at any FAQ for that. If there is a fortification, can you capture it and use it? There won't be any fortifications. We're not going to be using fortification rule. I legitimately did not think anybody would bring fortifications, so I didn't. They're not allowed to be used, but they're not going to be allowed to be used. It removes no prisoners from being a fixed choice. That's so weird. Why is that? No prisoners is a choice. No prisoners will definitely be a choice for this event. I've played with it multiple times. It helps a lot, actually. So anyway, back to the thing at hand. When you get given your scroll, too good is... That's one way to look at it. When you get given your scroll, you're going to be determined if you're an architect of fate, destruction, or authority. Based on that, you're going to get a twist card rule. Now, normally, when you play the game, you have different twists, and randomly one of them is going to get popped up and you to play it between you and your opponent. You both get the rules. In this, you don't. This is the part that gets interesting. So follow me on this one, if you will. Remember my little player card I was talking about, where you are for round 1, round 2, and round 3, and whether you're the attacker and defender and what you carry over to. One of the things that you're going to need to determine after all armies are set up, after you figured out who's the attacker and defender, but before you've done any pre-game movements, so no scout, no infiltrate stuff, but no scout, none of that stuff, right? And before you roll for seize the initiative, you're going to declare if you're going to enact your architect's ability. So the way it works is that you're going to be called out and given a random twist, okay? That twist is going to represent your warlord's ability, or think of it as like a superpower for your faction, right? If you've ever played computer games, you build up all this energy, you get to a certain point, and then all of a sudden, boom, you can unleash it and do your cool ability. Anybody play Halo Wars out there? A good example, if you play the Covenant and that, you get the little character, he runs around and they can freak out and do a bunch of cool stuff, right? That's what these are going to represent. Once per the whole event, you and your opponent are going to declare whether you do or do not use your architect's ability. Okay? If you don't, you get to save it for the next round and move on. You can use it in round 1, round 2, or round 3, but once you use it, it's on, and you will mark which event or ability used on your card. Yeah, rip Halo Wars. Still play it. So you get this ability, okay? What you need to understand, though, is it affects your army only. No one else's. Only your army gets the twist ability. So I'm going to give this as a good example. You might get Bloodlust. Bloodlust says a unit is eligible to charge if it is within 18 inches of one or more enemy units instead of 12 inches. Each time you make a charge roll, roll 3d6. You get that for the entire game. And yes, it is meant to be as broken and as powerful as it possibly can, because this is the one game you pull out all the stops and you go full ham and get yourself into combat to try to destroy everything, right? But both players have to unveil at the same time if they're going to use it. It's not, oh, what are you going to do? Oh, I don't know. You're going to. Nope. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Yes, I'm going to use it. No, I'm not. Right? Once you've used it, you get its ability for the game. Once done, your ability is spent, and you cannot use it for the rest of the event. If there is a World Eaters player that, yeah, I think there's exactly one World Eaters player. And yes, that would be horribly dangerous. I know. I've played against that. Thank you, John. But that being said, everyone is going to have some kind of nasty twist that they get to use that. I will let you know that there are a bunch of different twist cards in here. We're not using all of them, and there is one that I have house ruled in from prior stuff that'll be interesting. So you don't know what you're going to get. Fate's going to decide for you, so it should be really cool. So do we need any faction balance? I planned on tiers, but I can bring. Oh, okay. Because no, we're okay. Like for this event, it doesn't really matter one direction or the other. This is meant to be kind of a pure pile of chaos because every player is going to play a small part on each planet, and each planet has its own story. So I might not be playing Tyranids, but I'm going to plan the table or the planet that has both Tyranids and chaos that are infesting it. How does my army fit into that, right? That's the questions we're going to be answering. So no, you don't. If you're playing Tyranids, play Tyranids. We want Tyranid players. We need Tyranid players. I will say the balance right now is crazy Xenos and like anything else not. Like Imperium factions is minimal. I think we have 2 Imperium non-Space Marine factions players. I think I know one is AdMech, and I think the other one is Guard military. And then we have 6 Space Marine players now, I think, but I don't know. I actually probably going to send out a new Google form to make sure everyone gets checked in and we know what it is. But balance wise, doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. once you have determined that, you are then going to go into the pre-game movements and abilities and things like that. That's right. You do have a sisters. That's right. Wait a minute. Why didn't I see you on the list? I know. Like I said, unless you want to jump over to Imperial Agents, you don't have to switch. Carcharodons would be super cool to see on the table. So, cool. And then you're going to go into your game pretty much from there, right? And this is going to be kind of standard stuff. There isn't going to be, once the game is going, there isn't going to be too much additional interactions that you need to worry about, right? There's no additional changes at that point. You're going to play your game all the way through and go from there. The thing I will say, though, is that this is the only event where concessions or like giving up to an opponent just doesn't happen, right? The whole point of this event is to play and tell the story and see what the outcome is. Yeah, I know about Blood Angels. I'm looking forward to seeing your Red Wing. So if you feel like you're getting totally clobbered, the World Leaders player got the Bloodlust card and you activate yours and they charged you turn 1 and it's game over or whatever, cool. Let it be game over, but let it play out. See what happens. We need information to help tell the story, because if that happens to happen on the Chaos World, let me tell you, that is a huge triggering point. What you need to know is that in all of this, we have our narrative paths. Narrative paths themselves are actually determined based on what's going on. There are different triggers that I have noted down for each planet that goes one way or another, based on whether you're an Architect of Fate or Destruction, or whether you're a Necron player or not. There's a lot of different little factors, but all we need is one or two of them to, proc, basically happen, kick off, and that will help us determine the direction the rules go and the story goes. So, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it. You're going to play through the game, hopefully, right? See some crazy things, play with some crazy new terrain rules, have a crazy new deployment that you've never played with before. Now would you have the ability to, or ever have the inkling to do this? And then we're going to go on to the next round. You're going to come around, give me your card. You're going to say who is the winner, who is the attacker. Sorry, who is the attacker, who is the defender, who won that engagement, what the two factions were. And then I'm going to say, oh, you're on to the next sector. When you get over there, write down what table you played at, right? Just dawned on me, I need to buy a lot of Sharpies. We'll get into that. All of the player cards are laminated, and we're going to be using Sharpies for this so that you guys can write down this information, but it's definitely on there. I have a way to get it off. You just do the dry erase trick, if you don't know that, but that's for me, so that we can kind of track all that data. While all this is happening, Sean is going to be walking around and observing the different tables and seeing what engagements are happening on which sectors. And if anything super cool happens, he's going to take notes on that. He's going to write it down, and that's going to be part of the story that we post up, right? Based on these narrative paths, based on the chain of events that happen, based on the factions that play at the tables, there's a couple of things that can happen. I've boiled it down so that every sector, every planet has two paths, right? And one path can be accelerated all the way through, right? It can be boom, happens, boom, this happened in round 2, boom, this happened in round 3. Yeah, it's a slam dunk. We know what's happening on this planet. But it could also, boom, this happens on round 1, boom, this happens on round 2. Well, now we're on even footing again. Boom, happened round 3. Okay, so there's a little bit of give and take there, right? Or it can even be boom, boom, and then 1 kicks in, and so it's not a total runaway. It's going to be really interesting. Yeah, we do need a photographer. You're not wrong, man. I'm honestly tempted to contact Robert Hayes and see if he'll come out and do some filming and stuff. I would also like to live stream this, but I know my little computer can't quite handle it, so we'll see. Just finished the Ballistus minus the base thing. Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, guys. It's going to be the most unique event maybe some of you have ever played in, and it's not even going to be the most unique event of the year. I think that's super cool. So yeah, I think that covers, for the most part, what I wanted to cover today. You guys understand that each sector, each grouping of 5 tables, has a narrative that's happening. And based on your actions, your results, who the attacker, who the defender is, who wins, who loses, it's going to do something, right? That's going to be the narrative path within that sector, within that planet. You guys know that we're going to have some engagement protocols. You're going to make sure that try to do these to check them off. At the end of the day, this is the most beer and pretzels epic narrative game you should ever play. And if something bad happens, you guys need to laugh and have fun about it. Because what you got to remember is that you can lose and you're not a loser. I cannot stress that enough. This is not a tournament. This is not competitive. This is about telling a story. And man, I hope it is epic, because I think it's going to be every bit of everything we could possibly have happen. I think it's going to be great. Maybe Defender has to take a picture after each round and upload it to. Oh my God! I gotta start a channel if we're gonna do that one. That's gonna be nuts. Could we go through timeline for the day again? Lunch, post wrap. Okay, so yeah. Let's go over that, because that's something that I was gonna post out probably tomorrow or Thursday. Make sure you guys are all aware of it. The doors are going to open at 9 a.m. I'm going to be at the event. I'm going to get the doors open at 9 a.m. and we're going to start checking people in, right? The storefront won't open until 9:30 because that's when my staff gets in. We're going to start prepping food and all that stuff and make sure everything's good. And we're going to kick everything off. We're going to get things rolling probably by 9:30, 9:45. I want to start the first round no later than 10 o'clock. So that gives us an hour to kind of get in, get figured out, talk about terrain, look at all of the crazy cool tables, right? Get all that stuff going. But we're going to make sure everything's up and running. Yes, we're going to have coffee. Don't you worry about it. We're going to have access to energy drinks and water bottles and all that stuff. During round one, I should also note, we are having staff come around and take food orders in advance. I will make sure that there is menus around so that you can order food and it comes out to your table. We are going to have somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes lunch break. Make sure everyone gets food. Make sure all of that happens, right? So if we start at 10, we're looking at 10, 11, 12, 30 is going to be the start of our lunch break at the latest. You guys are going to see lunch is coming out to you before then to make sure you get your food and stuff like that. But realistically speaking, lunch should be between 12, 12:30. Going to end by 1:30. We're going to go into round two. Now, keep in mind, two things that need to happen. Number one, end of round one, everyone is going to set up their armies for the painting contest. We're going to come around. We're going to take lots of pictures. We're going to make sure that every army that wants to be in the painting contest gets pictures taken for it, right, and put into the painting contest. And then people get to go around and cast votes. You, the players, are going to determine who is the best painted army for the weekend. That's not me. That's not my staff. We are going to be judging for the individual entries on there, which if you haven't voted for yourselves, you need to go around to the side of the room, go to the retail side to make sure you see everything in the display case there and vote for that. So that is going to go on during our lunch break. So we're going to go around where it's at 9:30, 10 o'clock, somewhere between there. Kick that off. We're going to have lunch by 12, 12:30. And when we are done with lunch and we have voted for Painted Army, we're going to go into round two. At the beginning of round two, we are going to have a new narrative update. Sean's going to provide me with a couple of little stories to read. I'm going to hop on the mic and I'm going to read it out to you guys so you know what's going on. If I can, I'll stream it. I'll go live. Make sure that everyone at home that's been following along all this time gets to find out about that. And then we have our first chapter point. Got our midway point, right? And yes, I know at the end of round one is technically going to be the midway point. You got to go with me on this one. We're then going to play round two. And then as soon as battle round two is done, we're going to grab everyone, make sure everyone gets to the last sectors, gets to the last tables, gets to the last opponents, and we're going to jump to that third final round. During the third and final round is when Sean's going to come around and he might have some tidbits he's got to throw to me that I got to kind of throw out there, right? Like maybe something big did happen between round one and two. And we do need to talk about it and make sure you guys are all aware of it, right? We might not. The nice thing about it is we get to play it by ear, right? And then at the end of round 3, we're going to gather all the information. We're going to get everything together, throw everything into spreadsheets and all that. And this is where I'm going to ask for your patience, because it is going to take a hot minute. I can absolutely see this taking me every bit of 45 minutes to an hour to calculate all this information and get the final story and stuff like that. Sean said he's going to do his best to have preemptively created story endings. So we're not scrambling to at the last minute waiting for him to frantically type it up, right, so that I can read it out. But hopefully we'll have something, but he may need to modify things. So he's going to do that. And I'm going to go in, we're going to do the narrative, we're going to find out what's happening, and at that point in time, we will unveil the next event. And you will now know what the next event is going to be, what the protagonist, what the antagonist is, and we're going to go from there. And at that point, then go to our fun part, which is the awards and ceremony, and get pictures of all the players, and I'm going to pass out the awards and all that stuff. It's good. Epic day of awesome. And if we get out of there by 6:30, I will be shocked. I'm not going to lie. Not because it's a lot. And like I said, I do plan on playing in this event. I've worked this hard on it, and that's the main reason that I wanted to do this is so I can play. So me and Em are going to be sticking it out all the way to the end. She's jumping in with her Necrons. I'm going to be playing with my Leagues of Votann. It's going to be cool. Let's see. A little behind the video. If you need a computer that can handle a live stream, I can bring in my desktop. That's good to know. That's good to know. I'm going to see what we can do. My little here is chugging along doing this. So maybe we can just do something as simple as that. I've also got my phone, and I've got plenty of equipment. It'd be cool. See if we can get something set up. So, all right. I think that's it. Are you guys ready? You guys feel ready for the Nexus Ultima event? This is nuts. Let's see. I may have to leave before the award stuff, depending on when things happen. Oh, I totally understand, man. I'll make sure to get your pictures and stuff like that. So would it be possible to have someone record it if I can't stay? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I know you have to work, man. You are pulling the all-nighter that I could not even possibly think of doing. So don't you worry, man. The nice thing about this is that there's not really a lot of money or stakes or anything like that. There's just a lot of really cool things happening. So you can't really miss out on anything. If you have to leave early and you still win an award, the award will be at the store for you. So don't you worry about that. I am so stoked and so excited for this. Lucy, come here. No. She wants to run away. She was telling me that she was excited, but she's lying. She just wants food. Yeah. Speaking of, I have to get to work. So you have a great night, everyone. I feel you there. I don't have to get to work. I do have to start working on dinner. My wife is going to be off in a little bit here, and I think that's it. Any last questions, comments, questions, concerns, cool comments you want to talk about? Anything like that? Check out the cat. Look at the cat. There's a cat. Look at Lucy. She's a cat. Yeah, that's a tote full of terrain too, by the way. I got to go through that tonight. Will individual model painting competition come out day 2 or later? Yeah, same day. Yep. The individual painting contest will end early. We have the in-person votes from customer, shopper, and players like you. You can scan a little QR code, cast your vote that way, and then my staff is going to go through and help do tie breaks and choose our favorites that way. And on top of that, winners of that are going to have a piece of their army put into the narrative as well. Because they might not be in the conflict, but they can watch from a distance. And now they're intrigued to find out more. So it's going to be a really cool way to tie in some other factions and armies that aren't there. So if we don't have an Adeptus Dote there, but we've got one in the painting contest, well, turns out they've been keeping an eye on this thing the whole time. Because maybe they don't like Genestealer cults. Maybe they're aware of their whereabouts, things like that. Yeah, we will find out that day. We will find out so much more. I'm stoked, guys. Really am. I'm going to try to paint some more of my Votann. I will show that off hopefully tomorrow for Workbench Wednesday. You should be painting your models. If you haven't this whole time, shame on you. Paint your models. Yeah, that's about it. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Got everything. I got to finish up this terrain piece that I'm working on right here. You're going to see that at the tables. That's going to be one of the defense positions you guys are going to have to defend or assault. Your choice. You can be the attacker. I can see how it is. Yeah, that was an hour of white for Tesseract glow prep. Nice. Like, Pictures in Discord or it doesn't count. I want to see it. All right, guys. I'm going to take off. You guys have a good night. Get ready. Paint those armies. You got your cards. Make sure you get a good night's sleep the night before. Make sure you eat breakfast before you show up, or don't. We also serve snacks and stuff all day long. I've got extra fun hands so that we are gonna totally rock this out and be ready to go. And I will see you later. All right. Good night, guys. Have fun. Play some 40K. Paint some models. Turn in some stuff for the painting contest, and I'll see you all this weekend, if not before. All right. Bye, guys.